Welcome to The Explainer. Today we are diving deep into Jhumpa Lahiri's incredible short story, Interpreter of Maladies. It's one of those quiet stories that really packs a punch, showing us just how massive the distance between two people can be, even when they're sitting right next to each other in a car. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about that title. It's really the key that unlocks the whole story. So what on earth is an interpreter of maladies? What does that even mean? So you gotta understand, we're not talking about a cough or a fever here. Lahiri's maladies go way deeper. These are the sicknesses of the heart and soul, right? Things like loneliness, guilt, feeling like you don't belong. You know, the kinds of problems you can't just get a prescription for. They're way, way harder to diagnose. All right, section 1, a tourist's romantic fantasy. So picture this, we're in India. It's a hot day, and our story kicks off inside this cramped family car. And let me tell you, that small space acts like a total pressure cooker. It's the perfect environment for secrets to just bubble up to the surface. First up, we meet Mrs. Meena Das. She's a young Indian-American mom, and right off the bat, she just seems disconnected from her family, you know? She's hiding behind these big sunglasses, which are basically an emotional shield. She comes across as pretty self-absorbed, and as we're about to find out, she's hiding a pretty massive secret. And then there's Mr. Kapasi. He's their tour guide. He's this middle-aged guy who's just, well, he's stuck. He's in a loveless marriage, his life feels empty, and he is just desperate for a real, meaningful connection with someone. Something more than just showing tourists the sights. So you can see it right away, can't you? These two are like ships passing in the night. He's looking for this deep emotional bond, basically projecting all his hopes onto her. But she, well, she wants something completely different. All she's after is a quick fix, an easy way out of the guilt she's carrying. It's a total recipe for miscommunication. They're talking at each other, not to each other. And then we get the spark. The moment it all kicks off, Mrs. Des finds out about his side gig, interpreting for a doctor, and she calls it romantic. That's it, just one word. But for Mr. Kapasi, a light just goes on. He grabs onto that word and spins this whole fantasy out of it. He starts dreaming about writing letters back and forth, this whole new life where he's finally understood. Okay, part 2, the unbearable confession. This is where the whole story takes a sharp turn, from a pretty standard tour into something way more personal. So the rest of the family gets out of the car to look at some old ruins, but Mrs. Das stays behind with Mr. Kapasi. And in her mind, his job title, Interpreter of Maladies, isn't just a job. Oh no, she sees it as a magical fix for her own pain. She's basically decided he's going to be her therapist or her priest right then and there. And then, boom, she drops this absolute bombshell. Her son, Bobby, isn't her husband's child. Turns out he's the result of an affair from 8 years ago. I mean, can you imagine? She just unloads this enormous, life-altering secret onto this poor tour guide, expecting him to just interpret it away, to give her some kind of magical solution to make it all better? Section 3, a question of guilt. So here's the thing. Mr. Kapasi doesn't give her the easy answer she wants. Instead, he actually does his job. He interprets her malady, all right, but his diagnosis is, well, it's brutally honest. He looks at her and asks, "Is it really pain you feel, Mrs. Doss, or is it guilt?" Wow. I mean, that one question is the absolute peak of the story. It just shatters everything. He's telling her, this isn't some mysterious illness you're suffering from. This is guilt. This is the direct result of what you did. And just like that, everything changes. For Mr. Kapasi, his little romantic bubble just pops. He suddenly sees that she wasn't trying to connect with him at all. She was just trying to dump her responsibility on him. And Mrs. Doss? Oh, she gets furious. She didn't want a diagnosis. She wanted someone to tell her she was okay. Moving on to section 4. The connection is lost. You see, that confession didn't build a bridge between them. It just dynamited the land on both sides, revealing this huge canyon that was there the whole time. And this feeling of disconnect, it's not just in their words. Lahiri is so brilliant, she weaves it into the very objects around them. Let's look at Mr. Doss's camera, for example. The guy is snapping pictures of everything. He's constantly putting a lens between himself and reality. The camera becomes this barrier, right? It lets them feel like they're experiencing India, but really, they're just keeping everything at a safe distance. They're collecting souvenirs, not actually living the moment. And then you have the ending. That little slip of paper with Mr. Kapasi's address on it. That piece of paper is everything to him. It's the tangible proof of his fantasy. But then, as Mrs. Doss is looking through her bag, a gust of wind just whips it away. It's gone. And that's not just a coincidence, right? It's the perfect symbol for his whole fantasy. It was so fragile, so imaginary, that the slightest breeze could just carry it away forever. Which brings us to our last section, number 5, the real sicknesses. Because when you get right down to it, this story isn't really about Mrs. Doss's secret or Mr. Kapasi's daydream. It's about something way bigger than that. The real maladies in this story are invisible. They're things like the total failure to communicate, even in a marriage, the feeling of being culturally adrift, not really belonging here or there, that deep emotional disconnect, the guilt that's never dealt with, and of course the profound loneliness that makes people see what they want to see in others. Those are the real sicknesses. And that really leaves us with a pretty powerful question to think about, doesn't it? The story kind of holds up a mirror and forces us to ask ourselves, how often do we do this? How often do we project our own hopes and our own needs onto other people and end up completely misinterpreting who they are and what they actually need from us?